Aloha everybody, Kai Waza with you, John Charles. Welcome back to my channel and to yet another episode of The Cheap Lounge. Here we are in Season 3 of The Cheap Lounge, and I do apologize for being a little bit under the weather. I have been all week, had a cold, a flu or something. It's not COVID and it's not really gone yet, although I feel better today. Fortunately, I wasn't scheduled to work at all this week, so I've just been R&Ring, convalescing at home. I am going to go out for lunch somewhere today because I haven't even left the apartment the past several days after I finish this. But anyway, I'm also dressed up because this is, well, it's a cheap lounge, right? And also because this is what I'm going to wear to work tomorrow. So I figured I might as well just put it on right now and wear it for this and then wear it to work tomorrow morning because I have to be up so early. And I've kind of been into this whole grandpa core thing lately with like shirts and ties and bow ties and suspenders and stuff. So sometimes I do that grandpa core thing. But anyway, I apologize for the way that I sound. And then I'm always like munching on cough drops every time I've been doing a video this week, but that's just how it is. So let's go forward here. First up, I have a box set. I think this is, how many records? 9, 6, 1, 2, I don't know. Anyway, these are quite interesting. Kind of not so much for use on moody mood music, as much as it's just interesting to see. I got it because it was $1. It's like 6 or 7 records or 5 records or something. A box set. Very interesting. Social Security presents Music You Can't Forget, a brand new series of 15-minute radio shows hosted by Carol Channing. Now, again, this is hosted by Social Security, so this is like a, what do you call it? Like a PSA show, kind of, right? I don't know how it is now, but back when I used to work in terrestrial radio in the 80s and into the 90s, if I'm recalling, every radio station had to have a certain amount of public info, public broadcasting, public service announcements, and things like that. And a show like this, there were different shows like this produced that you could use towards that, what you needed to have. So this is just Carol Channing talking about and playing the music of a lot of different celebrities, some of them quite old, even when this was made. I don't have a date on this, but I would estimate the 70s probably. A lot of silverfish damage or whatever, but it's fine. The records are fine. But she's just introducing different songs, talking about the performers. Sometimes there's her own songs are on here also. She was, if you don't know, a singer, actress, definitely a comedian, really a comedian. Featured on many, many Broadway and film musicals through the years. She actually passed away in 2019 at 97 years of age of natural causes, so she had a very long life. These programs, there's 13 of them in this box set, and they are each 15 minutes long. And what makes them really amusing to me is because they are PSA, public service announcement, and presented by the Social Security Administration. She has a co-host who's some guy from Social Security Administration, and every 2 or 3 times during the program they interject these messages, important messages about your Social Security and what you can do to keep this up to date and benefits of and things to be wary of and blah 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 blah. And it's just kind of amusing to hear those now because we don't really, advertise or promote things in that way now, so it's kind of interesting to hear.
Ruth Edding, button up your overcoat. How did you like that, Peter?
She really had a special quality.
Well, I know. Her singing was very simple, and yet somehow she got her songs across more effectively than if she had used a lot of vocal tricks. I see you're ready to give us some important information, Peter.
Thanks, Carol. The reason Social Security produces this program and other programs like it is because they want you to know just what Social Security is all about.
Your overcoat when the wind is free. Hey, good care of yourself. You belong to me.
You know, it's cool and not of great use to Moody Mood music for me to use it, but I will definitely send this on to my friend Boxset Music Guy because this is kind of right up his alley. Okay, so next up, Al Jolson, the vintage Jolson. What do I say about Al Jolson? There's a specific reason I'm showing this record, but I mean, I do enjoy Al Jolson. He is very popular. Born, actually, his birth name was Asa Jolson. Vaudevillian, right? 20s, 30s, etc. He was actually well known for being, he appeared in the first talkie film, 1927, The Jazz Singer, he starred in. But he's known for being what we call blackface, right, vaudevillian performer. I'm not even sure if a lot of younger people listening right now would even know exactly what that is, because that's sort of been, you know, I'd say canceled, but sort of like, you know, buried down. Like, we don't really have a lot of those images, but there were performers in the vaudevillian days who would perform in what we call blackface. They're white people, they get up there and look like this and then perform different kinds of songs. Al Jolson was really known for being very, a lot of sentimental, very melodramatic, emotional songs, and Mammy, you know, and all of that. Why I have, and this is him not in blackface, in whiteface.
I said I'd keep off your track, but here I am. Don't take advantage of me, 'cause I've come to you. Just see how sweet you can be to the radio and cry, Mr. Radio Man. Tell my mama to come back home. Won't you do what you can? 'Cause I'm so lost.
The reason I am showing you this is something that just blew my mind when it happened. I was digitizing this record, listening to it, and the song Old Man River came up, which is a classic, really, and like easy listening music. Is from the 1920, I don't know, from the Showboat, the musical Showboat, very early musical Showboat. That's been redone 100,000 times on stage, and there have been a million soundtrack recordings from, and the songs from it have become very famous. Old Man River, probably the most famous song. And he's singing Old Man River on here, which the recording of this, by the way, these were all taken from 78 RPMs onto this record. So these are very, very old recordings. Old Man River, he's singing, recorded in 1928. And I'm listening to this, and it starts out, and I mean, like, the N-word is coming out all over the place, this song, especially the first half of it. Like, I'm going, what? Like, what? And it was kind of shocking just to hear it, but also, like, I never realized, I've heard Old Man River 100,000 times. I've never heard that word, you know, and I don't even remember those particular lyrics, that particular part of the song. Like, I don't even, what is this, you know? And it kind of led me on a search myself. They do talk about it in the liner notes, which I didn't notice until today, but that song actually was written with a lot of N-words in it, and they, what do you call it? In the 20s is when it was written. In the 1930s, I guess, a lot of performers stopped using those words, and they put other terms for African Americans in, or just generic terms for people. And they didn't perform it with the N-word, or many performers started just leaving out that part of the song. which is what I'm actually most familiar with, because I think most of your recordings from the 50s and 60s onward, by other people recording a famous Old Man River, they don't even sing that part of the song that was originally in. And in fact, in 1938, there were different words written for it in that section. But again, a lot of performers just omit that whole section and don't even go there. I just wanted to point that out because I thought it was fascinating. I didn't know. I had never heard an early version of Old Man River that was close to the original lyrics. And when I was listening to it, I was just like, what am I hearing? Like, oh my God. But anyway, yeah. And they do say on here that, the recording here, included here, is included because of its historic interest and its rarity. No disparagement of any person or group of people is intended. But I don't even know if you can find, like, I didn't check, I don't know on YouTube if you can even find a version with the original lyrics on it. I kind of wouldn't think so now, but it is interesting historically. I was shocked I didn't know it. And no, as much as I like to push the envelope about things, I did not put Al Jolson's version of Old Man River onto Moody Mood Music. I'm like, I don't think I want to go there. Yeah. Okay, next. Bill Justis. This is an album by Bill Justis. Now, it's unusual. I am familiar with Bill Justis. He was a rock musician. He had a hit in 1957 called Raunchy, which was covered by, instrumental hit, which was covered by several different artists and had success with every artist that did it. And a song I knew about called Tamure, which is based on a Tahitian song that was a hit in Australia, not in the United States, but I am familiar with that song. He really did records. The records I've seen of his and that I'm seeing available on Discogs are all very similar in that when he went into like being a orchestra person, conductor, and musician, he did albums that covered popular instrumentals of the day. So it would be like, Bill Justis performs, boom, whatever, Spinning Wheel and Calcutta and whatever, because there were all these popular instrumental songs coming and going in the 60s, and he did albums of his versions of them, and they are pretty much sound alike versions. They are pretty close to the original versions that artists did. So this album I was very intrigued by because it's obviously not that. And if you look up his stuff, it really is the only record like this, because everything he did was those instrumental cover albums. This is purely an easy listening album. The Eternal Sea, Bill Justis, his orchestra and chorus. I would almost say this is sort of like a Mystic Moods record, kind of. I mean, it's an orchestra. The ocean waves and the seagulls and everything are coming in and out and in and out and in and out of all the recordings. And there is a chorus. Sometimes they sing lyrics. Sometimes they're just oohing and eyeing, and sometimes they're being very melodramatic. And the crashing waves. Cool record, no date on it on Monument Records. The only record like this he did. I think there's a couple of original compositions on here, but most of it are fairly well-known songs. Offshore, Beyond the Sea, Enchanted Sea. It all has like a nautical theme. I really like this record. Well, here's a lady, I don't know, you've probably heard of her, Edith Piaff, French chanson, French singer of torch songs and very melodramatic songs from the most popular in the 1940s. So quite old, yeah, the war and all of that. In the 1940s, she was France's most popular entertainer, very well known for the song La Vie en Rose. I think we all probably know that song. If you don't know by title, you know it when you hear it. It's French, I don't know. I didn't know until today, reading reading about Edith Piaff, that La Vie en Rose, which I always assumed to be about a rose, actually translates to life in pink. Who knew? I didn't know. Anyway, 1956, Columbia Records decided she's a French singer, so everything's in French, basically, right? But she was popular, traveled around the world, performed around the world, but French songs. Columbia Records in 1956 decided to do a record of her singing songs in English. And what do you think? I don't know. I think it met with mixed reviews, but I personally really like it. She has a very distinctive voice when you hear it,
Gathered in the chapel, and many tears of joy were shed in June on a Sunday morning, when Jimmy and his bride were wed. All the chapel bells were heavily, and reigned we two alone in a world that seemed our very own. With this memory ever grateful.
I don't have a problem listening to music in languages I don't understand. I mean, that doesn't bother me, but it is cool to hear somebody singing in English, and knowing what they're saying. I particularly love her version of The Three Bells, which is a French song. It's been recorded by a lot of artists, was a big hit with the Browns, but many people have recorded it, including her, in French, I believe. And she has an English version on here, and I love it. And I also love the song Hymn to Love. And I just learned today, reading about her, I didn't know, I love the song Hymn to Love, that she wrote that song actually for a romantic interest of hers who actually died in a plane crash landing at a stopover in Portugal when he was going on his way to France to see her. Their plane crashed and everybody on board died, including her lover, and she wrote that song to him. I didn't know that. I like it.
Hello, everybody. This is Carol Channing, and I'm here to tell you to tune into Moody Mood Music on Live365.com. They have so much wonderful music. You'll love all of the music, and there's so many personalities and entertainers that they're friends of mine, too. You'll really enjoy it. All you have to do is tune into Live365.com. Moody Mood Music. I'm told that you can listen. I don't exactly understand this, but you can listen on an e-phone or a mobility device. I don't know. And I'm also here to remind you not to forget to check into your Social Security account. Call the Social Security Administration, and they can help you. They can help you and answer all your questions. Of course, I'm far too young to be eligible for Social Security, but, maybe you might be qualified. So don't forget to tune in to Moody Mood Music on Live365.com. All you need to do is just click on the link in the description. What's a link? What's a description box?
Emotions. I was quite excited to find this record when I saw it because, I don't know, I've known about it, but I haven't really ever seen it any place where it was cheap, although it's not like selling for some huge amount on Discogs or whatever. I guess you just don't see it around that often. Emotions by Richard Shores and his Orchestra. So, great cover, right? I mean, this is a song about human emotion. This is an album about human emotion. The tracks are all original, they're all, written for that album. Love, hate, sorrow, gay, blues, surprise, frustration, nostalgia, fear, hysteria. So, interesting record. I don't know, like if you were just listening to something, who the heck would like want to listen to this? But oh honey, let's just put this on the turntable and have cocktails and let's get frustrated and hysterical and blue. I don't know. But what it reminded me of very much was Les Baxter and Basheva's The Passions. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's sort of an exotic, a classic sought after release. Where it's all these different, a woman's emotions, fear. I think some of the same titles are actually used, but and it's this orchestra building to crazy crescendos and a wordless woman, wailing and it's amazing. Again, not something you to me would just want to sit down and let's just listen to The Passions. It's great, but fascinating. This reminded me very much of The Passions by Les Baxter, just without Basheva. There's no woman moaning and groaning and oohing and ahhing. It's just instrumental orchestra. It also kind of reminded me of something that you would like maybe hear on the Twilight Zone, music in the background of the Twilight Zone, where they're sort of making you uneasy, or some kind of soundtrack thing. Enjoyed it, and there were obviously I couldn't use all of this on Moody Mood Music because some of it's disturbing, but I think there were four songs. A couple were really nice that I thought were really pretty, but yeah, it's an enjoyable listen. Not really cocktail music. Okay. Finally today, very interesting 10-inch, although it is from the 60s, 1960s, 65. So not super old. This is interesting, right? Variations on the Proud Bird theme in stereo. What the heck is this, right? Very intriguing when I saw this. I'll tell you what it is. It is music composed by Bill Walker. And it's composed for Continental Airlines. Had new commercials coming out at the time and new promotions. And this is a theme that he developed for Continental Airways. So they used it in the advertisements, and they also used it when you're boarding the plane, playing, and on the little music announcements or whatever that would be made during in-flight service or whatever. So the Proud Bird theme, Continental Airways, and there's 4 different themes of it. I mean, the main theme, he does an American Indian theme of it, arrangement of it, an Oriental variation, and a jazz paso doble Spanish version of it. And it's on 10-inch. It's a medley. It's like 8 minutes long. One record, yellow vinyl. How cool is that? There's nothing on the other side. Just one-sided thing. great. I mean, to me, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is the most weird and fabulous thing I've ever heard. But it was interesting, you know, and I definitely uploaded it. It's kind of cool to hear. I don't remember, I mean, 1965, I was a very small child, so I don't remember ever hearing this myself. I certainly wasn't flying at that time. So, I don't know, but it's kind of cool to have it, and we enjoyed it. I understand, from what I see, it also came out with a companion record of the same size and type that had actual commercials using the theme on it, like 10 different commercials or something. I don't have that. It wasn't with this, so I don't know, but that's what I've heard or seen. Anyway, yeah, that's that. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. And don't forget to check out Moody Moon Music Radio on live365.com. That'll be linked below if you want to check that out anytime. Let me know if you have any of these records or artists or your thoughts about them. It's always great to get some feedback in here from you guys. And again, I apologize for sounding abysmal. Go back to work tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, have a good day.